Hello everyone. On 1st February 2022, the Finance Minister Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman presented the budget for the year 2022-23. In this video, we shall discuss the key highlights of this budget. So if you see the size of the budget, then the budget has reached 39 lakh crore rupees, and this shows a steady rise in the budget size despite the COVID-19 impact. We have seen that the budget size has steadily grown, and if you look at the numbers from 2017-18 to 2022-23, every year we see that the budget numbers have grown steadily. In fact, during the COVID-19 year, in fact, the numbers have gone up quite significantly, particularly when you see the shift from 2019-20 to 2021, the jump was about by 6 lakh crore. Okay? And of course, subsequently in the first year and second year of COVID-19, we see that the growth has been moderate, but then in the past year we see that there was a significant jump in the budget size because government wanted to support the people and also inject enough liquidity into the system so that the economy doesn't fall down. And that's how we see that there was expectation for double-digit contraction of the GDP, but then GDP has not really contracted in double digit. It was by 7.5% contraction in the year 2020-21, and in 21-22 we are expecting about 9.2% GDP growth. So we can say that the stimulus package of the government of India, or the spending of the government of India, has basically helped the economy to revive quickly. Now if you see the receipts of the government, because why this is important, because during COVID year the revenue collection was badly impacted, and that has impacted the fiscal deficit of the government of India. But okay, here we see that now things are now becoming normalized, and so you see that in the year 2022-23, government of India is expecting to collect about 27 lakh 0.57 crore from the tax revenue, and of which usually the corporation tax contributes more than the income tax, but during COVID-19 we saw there was a change in the pattern, and in the year 2021-22 the income tax from the individuals contributed more, but of course in the revised estimate we don't see that happening. And now see custom duty, union excise, and GST, things are now government is thinking that it will become normalized. Now coming to the trend in the tax receipts, whether the tax receipts were badly impacted during COVID-19, we see that yes, it has been badly impacted, and the trend started from 1920 onwards, and we had the highest tax GDP ratio in the year 2017-18, where it was 11.2%, and in 1920 this dropped to 9.9%, and now things are improving, and government is expecting that in 22-23 the tax GDP ratio will reach the level of 10.7%, and within that direct and indirect taxes, if you see, then direct taxes usually contribute more than that, but in the recent years we see that there has been a convergence. Okay, up to 2015-16 we saw that direct taxes were contributing more than the indirect taxes, and but in the recent years, particularly during the COVID-19 time, we have seen that there is a convergence, okay, and they are contributing almost equally to the revenue of the Government of India. And then I told you in the beginning that during COVID-19 the burden on the Government of India increased because the stabilization function lies with the Government of India, and that's how Government of India had to spend a lot of money. That's how the deficit increased. Government of India could not comply with the FRBN targets of having fiscal deficit of 3% of GDP and revenue deficit of 0%. Rather, fiscal deficit went up to 9.2% in the year 2020-21, and now government is trying to control the fiscal deficit, and in the fiscal year 2022-23, government is planning to bring the fiscal deficit down to 6.4%. And similar revenue deficit also has up to 7.3%, and now in the coming fiscal year government is planning to bring the revenue deficit down to 3.8%, and effective revenue deficit government is trying to bring down from 6.2% in 2021 to 2.8% in the coming fiscal year, and primary deficit from 5.8% in 2020-21 to 2.6% in the coming fiscal year. So in this budget government is trying to achieve fiscal consolidation and bring down all the deficits, because definitely such high level of deficits cannot be sustained, and so government is definitely trying in that. So this gives less flexibility to the Government of India to have more freebies and have more as public spending in different sectors that people would ordinarily expect. So if you see the composition of the spending of this year, then you see that the maximum money goes for the interest payment, followed by the defense and transport to the state, and government is also giving too much of emphasis on the transport sector, and we'll see that government is trying to reduce the burden on subsidy, but the pension and again takes a sizable share, and then agricultural allied activities contribute. So we'll see sector wise how the government has allocated money for different sectors. And so if you see these numbers, then we see that interest payment goes quite a huge amount. Interest payment amount is quite big, and it is like about 9,40,000 crore rupees that goes for the interest payment this year, and this has gone up steadily because government has borrowed quite a lot of money. And then the second highest spending probably is going for the defense, and this is 3,85,000 crore rupees will be spent for the defense sector, and this has also gone up steadily. Similarly, external affairs, we see that it has gone up this year, but then compared to the previous years, it has not really gone up significantly. And then comes home affairs. Home affairs, although we see that there is a marginal increase in the allocation. So the major highlight from this slide is that a lot of money is being spent on interest payment and on the defense sector, and this has all gone steadily up. Then when it comes to the subsidy, we saw that during COVID-19 Government of India ensured food security for all, and that's why the food subsidy shot up to quite a high level, and the food subsidy amount was 5,41,000 crore rupees in the year 2021, and now government is trying to bring it down to the pre-COVID situation, and but still it is not actually going to be that, but government has given too much of emphasis on reducing the food subsidy. So this will have some implication on the procurement of paddy by the FCI, and but if you see the food subsidy in the present year or in the coming fiscal year, it is still much higher than the pre-COVID levels. And then coming to the other subsidies like fertilizer subsidy, government is also trying to bring down the fertilizer subsidy level, and petroleum subsidy, significantly government has controlled, and I think that is a good thing also, because India is trying to achieve the targets of UNFCCC or Paris Agreement, and recently Prime Minister Modi has made a lot of commitments for COP20 in the COP26 Conference of Parties 26 that happened in Glasgow, and India is trying to become a responsible global player in achieving the climate control targets. And so government of India is reducing the subsidy on the petroleum products. That's a good thing, but then reducing subsidy in fertilizer and food subsidy would have some implications on the farmers and the food security. Coming to the transportation sector has got a major boost in this budget, and particularly the concept that is used is that PM Gati Shakti, and that gives emphasis on all kind of transportation sector, starting from road, air to water, and railways, and how to integrate all these things and how to strengthen the transportation system. So you see that there is a substantial rise in the budget allocation to the transportation sector during COVID-19. So infrastructure, particularly the transportation sector, has got a major boost. And then the finance minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, told that we have completed 75 years of independence, and now we are preparing for the 100 years of independence. So the 25 years that we are now having will be treated as Amrit Kal, auspicious moments, and during this time India will prepare itself to become a developed country, and so for that definitely major investments in transportation sector would help achieving these targets. Coming to the other departments, we see that commerce and industry sector has also got a major boost, and similarly IT also, services, IT and telecom department has got substantial rise in the budgetary allocation, and then urban development also has got a major boost in this budget, and energy also. And India is also trying to produce more clean energy, particularly solar energy. India is now taking the lead in the global solar alliance. So India is trying to produce a lot of renewable energy, and that is also reflected in the budget. So infrastructure, IT, industry, and energy and urban development sectors have got a major boost in this budget. Coming to the education sector, we have launched the National Education Policy, and government is trying to implement that, and we have seen that the budget allocation for education has gone up substantially, and particularly the schemes for providing online education to all classes and having separate channels, TV channels for different classes and regional languages is definitely going to help. But then we have to also see that there is enough infrastructure in the schools so that the children get that benefit. Okay? And so education sector has got higher allocation in the budget, and but then health sector, we see that we were expecting that during COVID-19 government would put more money into the system, but then we don't see a substantial rise happening in the health sector. Of course, in the previous year we had seen there was substantial rise in the budget allocation, and a large part of it would be the spending for the vaccination. But still, during COVID-19 we see that the allocation for the health sector has gone up, and education and scientific departments have also got higher allocation in this budget. Agriculture and allied activity sector has got a little bit higher budget allocation, but rural development department has got a substantial reduction in the budget allocation. This will impact the MGNRGS allocations, okay? And so that is not a good thing, and steadily we see that during COVID-19 the government has been reducing the budget allocation in the rural development. Of course, probably there could be some reading that the demand for unskilled jobs are declining, and if government can spend this much money for generating the skilled or semi-skilled employment in the rural area or urban area, that will be a good thing. But then we see that the rural development sector is witnessing a reduction in the budget allocation. Similarly, in the social welfare department, we see that yes, there is a rise in the budget allocation compared to the pre-COVID levels also. And now coming to the GST compensation funds that remained quite controversial. We see that the GST compensation fund declined substantially during COVID year 2020-21, but then now the numbers are reviving, and in this budget government is expecting to get about 1,20,000 crore compensation cess, and so that it can transfer these benefits to the states. And transfer to the states are going up steadily as per the 15th Finance Commission recommendation. And the allocation for the finance department itself has also gone down in the present year. Now coming to the budget allocation for planning and statistics, in last 2 years we observed that the government reduced the budget allocation for planning and statistics, and in this year government has raised the budget allocation for planning and statistics, so hopefully we will be able to get the pending data sets from NSS office. And similarly for the Northeast development during COVID year, COVID-19 years, the allocation had declined, and now the amount has gone up in the present budget. Now coming to the flagship programs that government has launched, government is planning to provide pipe water to all households, and in this scheme has started last couple of years ago, and in this budget, particularly in 2023, government is planning to cover 3.8 crore households and provide water to them. Similarly, 80 lakh households are to be covered under Prime Minister's Awas Yojana in this fiscal year, and the government is trying to provide the banking facilities. Basically, it wants to provide core banking facilities to all post offices, so that the rural households would get the banking facilities in near their houses. And for aspirational blocks, government claims that the 110 or 14 aspirational districts have improved substantially, and now government is trying to go down further and target the most backward blocks with innovative schemes for health, education, and so on. That's a good thing also. Now there was a lot of suspense on the digital currency because there is a lot of popularity now coming for the digital payments and digital currency, and Bitcoin has got a lot of popularity. People have invested quite a lot of money, so people are thinking what will be the government policy, and now government of India is going to launch a digital rupee using the blockchain technology, and it will start in the coming fiscal year. And then government is also going to launch a scheme for taxation of the virtual digital assets, because now digital assets are growing, so government is going to impose taxes on that. So one way you can say that government is planning to legalize the digital assets, and it wants to impose taxes. That's a good thing. And there will be losses from sale of virtual digital assets, so that cannot be offset against other income, and then income from digital assets to be taxed at 30%, that is the highest slab. And for education, I have already told that one class 1 TV channel program has been announced, so there will be 200 new TV channels for education, and so that people can get online education through TV channels. And a digital university will be established with world-class quality universal education, and government is also planning to produce high-quality e-content which will be delivered through the digital teachers. Similarly, health sector, although did not see much rise in there was rise, there is some rise in the allocation, but not substantial rise as we are expecting. But government is coming up with national digital health ecosystem and national tele mental health program, and government is also basically coming with integrated approach to Mission Shakti and Mission Vatshalya and Saksham Anganwadi, and the government is emphasizing on portion and nutrition of the children and women. And government is also planning to upgrade 2 lakh Anganwadi centers to Saksham Anganwadi. Basically, it will provide more digital aid so that the children enjoy the learning. Coming to the transport system, government has given a lot of emphasis to the transportation sector, and government is announcing 400 energy efficient trains, Vande Bharat energy efficient trains, to be manufactured over next 3 years with indigenous technology. Because in fact, Prime Minister Modi has announced in the COP26 that railway will be reducing the carbon footprint, and so energy efficient trains would help in that direction. And national highways will be expanded by another 25,000 km in 2023, and this highway expansion will cost under 200 billion rupees during this fiscal. So this will attract more private investments. And India will also bring out battery swapping policy. And then, in compliance with the Paris Agreement and COP26 commitments that Prime Minister Modi had made in the Glasgow meeting, government is giving too much emphasis on energy transition and climate action. And so government is it is reflected in the budget itself. And additional 195 billion rupees will be spent for production-linked incentives towards solar equipment manufacturing, because Government of India is leading the Solar Alliance at international level, so it is promoting the production of the solar panels and production of solar energy, and government is trying to give more incentives for that. Then coming to the agriculture, government is encouraging natural farming, and it is now going to launch this scheme with basically in the lands in 5-kilometer radius of 5 kilometer of the Ganga river, so that the water of Ganga is not getting polluted. And similarly, government is going to encourage the post-harvest value addition and consumption and branding of the millet products, because this year is being celebrated as the International Millet Year. So government is giving emphasis on this, and Odisha government has already started the millet mission, and because this gives nutrition and it encourages the farmers in the forest regions or the tribal regions. And more importantly, this millet production will have less dependency on the water, so it has more environmental benefits also. And government is also going to encourage the Kisan drones for spraying seeds and pesticides, and the river linking project, Ken Betwa river linking project, is also going to start with 9.1 lakh hectares of land. And similarly, then the domestic scheme, government is planning to reduce the dependence on the oilseed imports and give incentives to the producers or the farmers in the country. And similarly, railways are going to one railway station for one agriculture product scheme has been launched in this budget. And 5G spectrums will be auctioned soon in 2020, and government is also going to award contracts to lay optical fiber in rural areas, and by 2025 this will be completed. So rural areas will be connected with good internet connection. So these were the highlights of the budget, and we see that government India has given emphasis basically on reducing the deficits, and within that it has given so whatever budget allocation has happened, it has maximum amount has gone for education, infrastructure and urban development, and it has tried to reduce the subsidies for food, petroleum and fertilizer. Thank you very much for watching this video.